Welcome, thank you for joining me. I am a guy called Joe. This is Bootstrapping Guides, and this is the fourth video in a series where we're going over Google Data Studio. If you've never heard of Google Data Studio, you've never used it before, it's simply just a business intelligence tool or a BI tool. It's very useful in taking your data sets, if it's spreadsheets or a database or anything like that, and then converting that into beautiful dashboards or reports that you can present to your stakeholders, your direct reports, or your boss or whoever. So before we dive into it, up on the screen we have our very basic guide to getting started with Google Data Studio. It's going to take you through adding a data source, making a report from scratch, and then making it pretty. If you are interested in checking this out, there's a link in the description, so feel free to take a look at it and then follow along. In the last video, what we did was we went through creating multiple pages in your report. That way you're not just restricted to one single page, and you can start having multiple pages to tell a story. And over here we set it up so that you have a tray on the left hand side that you can go from page to page telling your story. We set it up so that we first start talking about our users and our acquisition of those users, the demographics between them, and how spread out they are geographically. And then we dove into page stats, so we can see which pages were the most popular for us, and then what the referral sources were for those pages. Today, we're going to go over Search Console data. If you've used Search Console before, Google Search Console, it's pretty cool. It's another free product from Google. All you need is just a website and a Google account. You add it to your website, and then it'll start tracking the types of queries that users are using in Google search. So just regular google.com, what they search for, how your site pops up, the position of it, the number of clicks, the impressions, all of that. It's a really good way for you to keep track of your organic traffic, which is, in a lot of cases, the metric that will make it or break it for your business. Organic traffic is what will naturally be sustainable, as opposed to paid traffic, which is not, and that's through Google AdWords, which we'll cover in another day. But first things first, let's go over to the edit page for all of this. We're going to add in a page. So we're going to click on the page 2 of 2 up on the upper left, and then click on add a new page. If you're not familiar with how to add a page, please check out the previous video where we went over adding pages, multiple pages, to your Google Data Studio report. The link for that is going to be in the description. So we'll add a new page. It's going to default its name to page 3. So let's rename that since we are talking about search. So let's call this search stats. Keep it, very uniform for everything else. And then click on that. Now we have 3 pages: user stats, page stats, and search stats. Now let's add a chart. We'll add a table, this chart type, and then it's going to default to some data that we have. And then I actually set up some blended data before, but let's X out of that so I can show you how to do it exactly. We have 2 data sources here, and the way that Search Console does it is it'll give you a data set for queries and how those queries rank up for your individual site, and how many clicks you get for that. And then it'll also give you one called URL, which will give you your individual landing pages as well as the average position that you're getting out of it. So we're going to add this here, and then you'll see Google property and clicks. We don't care so much about the Google property, so let's set this to query for now. And you can see how many clicks we're getting for the different queries that we're ranking for. We can also get average position as well as impressions and site CTR from this. But what we want to do is we want to take this and then figure out the web pages or those individual website pages that we have and how they go, how they rank up for the search terms. In this site web data, you actually don't get the landing page, which is why we're going to want to blend the data. So in your data source, you're going to see a button to blend the data. Click on that, and it's going to ask you, what's the other data source. So when we click on that, we're going to search and select the URL web, which is the other Search Console data set. And then in the top section, join keys, we'll just click and drag certain items to it so that we can start mapping the data one-to-one. So we already have query, which matched up perfectly, which is great. I'm going to add in web here, date, and then device category, because that's also shared. Google property is also shared. Landing page is not, so we're going to add that as a dimension down below. And we also have country. I might as well add that in here as well. Maybe we'll use it, maybe we won't. So now that we have landing page here, let's actually, instead of using these, we want the average position one from the site data. So what we'll do is we'll just drag all this over down to the metrics section. I need to just do this. So metrics section, so we want average position, we want impressions. Sites click-through rates, CTR, let's add the average position back. So now we have 4 metrics and then 1 dimension. So this looks pretty good to me. Well, if anything, we can always come back and edit it, but let's hit the save button down on the bottom right. Click on that. And now we have our blended data. And let's expand this so we can see it a little bit better. We have a bunch of things we don't necessarily care about just yet, so let's X out the device category, the Google property, the country, and the date. Let's just take a look at query and landing page. So now we can see for each row, we see the query, the page that ranked for that query, as well as some stats for it. Obviously the click-through rate and the average position look a little bit off, but that's because you have to configure it a little bit. So the site CTR, we want the average, and then we want the percent, so that's already set to the type. So we'll just let that be. So that's now 56%. So 99 out of 182, that sounds about right. And then average position, we also want to do the same thing. We'll hit an average there, and it is a number. Once you do that, 1.4, that sounds right to me. And we can actually make this a little bit larger. So we see a couple of more things here. So 2, 4, 8, yeah, that looks about right. So that's basically the gist of blending data. Let me open that back up so we can talk through it a little bit more. You can add multiple, it doesn't have to just be 2, it could be 3 or more. You can add a bunch here, and the important thing is that you always have the matching join keys. So let's say, for instance, if we weren't working with Search Console data, let's say you were working with your database. If you had three different tables with primary keys and foreign keys, you can join them here just like this and then showcase that data in DataStudio, which makes it super powerful when you're doing analyses or just creating stats, reports, or dashboards for your users or your primary stakeholders or your colleagues or whoever. So just remember, the important thing is join keys. Both data sets have to have a primary key that match up so that you can blend those 2 data sets together and get the accurate metrics that you're looking for. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and we'll add in a new chart here. Might as well, while we're at it, we'll add in a line chart. And since we're looking at this, so it's the blended data, we'll do the dimension as date because it is a line chart. We'll need to see that. Let's do clicks and impressions because those are always, it's always something nice to see the differences of. So as expected, we get way more impressions than clicks. Something nice to see over there. And then we can also add in a few scorecards in here just to highlight the number of clicks. Sure, why not? That looks good. We'll add this down here. We'll do impressions, just the total number. And then we'll also add in a metric for, let's say, average position, but remember it can't be the sum. That's not going to work. Let's do the average. And that's a number. And then that'll give us the average for that entire time frame that we have, which looks right now to be about 28 days or about a month. And just as a little bonus feature, these are looking a little bit small, so you can increase the size here for the container and then go over to the style column, click on that, and then you're going to see the labels section where 28 pixels is the size that we set it at. Let's set it to 48. That looks pretty good. We can actually make this a little bit bigger. And then let's view this and see how it looks to the end user. So looks pretty good. You can hover over it. You can see what the stats are like. You can scroll through. You can sort this table as well if you wanted to. And yeah, this is essentially a really nice report. Everything's coming together here. You can imagine you're doing a presentation, you talk about all the users that you have and then all the pages, and you dive into like our Google. We get a lot of referral traffic from Google, and here's why we get the referral traffic from Google, because of all these queries that we're ranking for. Yeah, But that's basically it. This is how you're going to blend data, make more sophisticated reports. If you do run into any problems or have questions, don't be shy. Add a comment down below in the section below. We're here to help, so we'll take a look at anything that you guys are putting in there. We'll respond as quickly as we can. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button so that other people can find this video just like you did. This is just the 4th video in this series. There's more to come. So hit that subscribe button as well as the bell notification so that you receive updates whenever we put out new videos, whether it's about DataStudio or some of the other tools that we'll be looking to showcase in the future, such as Retool or AppSheets or any one of those that help you run your business or make your business more efficient, just to optimize your operations. But anyhow, this is a guy called Joe, and it's been a pleasure showing you DataStudio. This is Bootstrapping Guides, and we're out.